Welcome to this presentation on the Vertical Casper project. The Vertical Casper project is an attempt to make a conceptual design for a building which responds better to microclimatic and environmental conditions, as well as to socioeconomic conditions in the Middle Eastern region than do conventional high-rise buildings as they come in major cities in the region. The Vertical Casper project takes its point of departure in the concept of the termite mound as a design metaphor. That is, there's no attempt made to try to simulate or biomimicry the termite mound in its functionality, but rather to try to develop an architectural design using the termite mound as a design metaphor. The design concept, several aspects are introduced in order to reduce heating from solar radiation. Here you see a prototypical facade with protruding and setback elements to provide cast shadows onto the facade. And you also see trees at the ground level, which kind of function in relation to the interior of the building. The interior is sort of hollowed out, thus the notion of the termite mound, so as to allow air to rise up through the vertical shafts that you see in this vertical section. In addition to the vertical perforations towards the facade, so that you generate a sort of sponge-like or hollowed out structure where air can enter through the openings and the sides from the bottom to the top. And once it heats, it will rise up through the vertical shafts and thus produce convection and natural ventilation and cooling. In terms of natural lighting, the structure is differentiated in such a way that at the base there will be larger openings where there will be trees at the exterior or larger windows, and in the section in the middle there will be smaller windows, and so on the top there will be also horizontal shading elements. In the interior of the building, you will see larger openings or windows towards the base of the building where less light enters into the interior open spaces, whereas towards the top there will be smaller openings. In the horizontal openings into the shafts, there are water basins allowing both for cooling of air when it passes over the water surface, and also to allow for light to reflect in the surface of the water and thus to enter the interior of the building. In terms of open spaces inside the building, the idea is to introduce a kind of urban space or a public space at the lower levels, which are foreseen for shops and services as a kind of mall situation, where you will have exterior open spaces or outdoor open spaces in the interior of the building, the yellow parts, for circulation. Higher up, where in the middle of the building offices are foreseen or workplaces, there are less open spaces and they're more secluded to cater for the offices that require less public space. And again, at the top of the building, which is foreseen for housing, there will be more semi-public open spaces where residents can circulate in this kind of neighborhood in the sky. A couple of renderings. Here you see a perspective rendering of the top part of the building, the housing part, where we have in this scenario 4 levels of housing. You see the railings surrounding the vertical shaft behind the man and the girl to the left in the image. Behind the two men and to the right, you see a water basin, and you see these kind of balconies in the space with green plants, which will all contribute to providing a naturally cooled environment. Another rendering. Here you look down through one of the vertical shafts where air will pass up due to the stack effect, and you will notice how there are open spaces at different levels going down through the building. The whole idea of the concept is that it should be scalable and adaptable to different site conditions, and this street view rendering just simply illustrates how the building could sit in different sites with different sizes. Well, one thing is to work from a design metaphor of a termite mound. Another thing is whether it works, of course. And to that end, we have done UCTI simulations using Ladybug for Rhino to simulate surface temperatures. This diagram shows surface temperatures at the ground level. The red parts is areas on the ground which are fully exposed to sun. The green boxes are simplified trees, and you see that where trees cast shadows, temperatures on the ground are lower. And the white boxes in the middle of the image is the actual building, and the open spaces at the ground floor, which show here in yellow, showing that the design provides an even cooler environment in the interior of the building. Going up 2 floors, you see the open spaces in the interior of the building at the second floor, which is still this shopping and services area, the mall situation. And also here we have a significantly cooler environment compared to the outdoor situation. Going up another step, we enter the area for offices. Here, spaces, as mentioned, are more secluded, and some of the spaces closer to the facade obviously are more exposed to direct sunlight and thus show up in hotter colors, which is to be anticipated. While still in the interior of the building, you will have significantly cooler conditions. Going all the way to the top, to the housing part of the structure, some parts, as we're towards the top of the building, are obviously hotter, but still there are parts which are significantly cooler. What has not been simulated in this study is the stack effect of natural ventilation and cooling through air passing through the structure. This would require computational fluid dynamics simulations, which weren't done in this study. And also the effect of water basins and plants have not been simulated in this study, both of which would result in temperatures even lower than the ones demonstrated through the UTCI simulations of surface temperatures done here. Another important aspect of the design concept is to not just do a one-off design for one site, but to do a concept which is scalable and adaptable to different site conditions. Thus, the structure was designed parametrically using City Engine to be able to scale it to different site conditions with some minimum requirements, obviously, for modernist urban areas, and also to scale it to different heights, building heights. So in a very few words, in a very short time, this is the essence of the Vertical Caspa project. And thank you very much for listening in to this ultra short presentation. Thank you.